It is quarantine day 8, breakfast time, and been a little lazy today. I did set my alarm for 7 a.m. and then I just kind of just went back to sleep and waited until the guy knocked on the door to let me know that breakfast was here, and that was about 7:47ish, and it's now almost 8 o'clock. It's like 5 minutes till. So we have something in this. It's dry. It's not a soup, so we'll see what that is in a moment. A fork, an orange juice, which like yesterday, I'll just go trade out with the one in the fridge. We have, looks like a cream puff, and then some fruit. The 2 waters, which I am very grateful for. Last night, I made the mistake of actually drinking one of these teas, or 2 cups of these teas, as the last thing I did that night before going to bed. I was just watching TV, drinking tea, and I noticed that, at least for me, whenever I drink tea, if that's like the final thing I drink, if I drink tea and then go to bed, I always wake up with a very dry mouth. So I'm suffering through that right now, but it's nothing a couple bottles of water can't help. We have the coffees, which I think I'll swap to. A hard-boiled egg. And then a sandwich. I guess here they must think that a standard breakfast is a sandwich. So smoked chicken, ciabatta. So it's smoked chicken ciabatta is what is for breakfast this morning. I have been practicing my Korean. Probably going to start picking up some phrases and stuff soon here. Although, I'm personally not the biggest fan. That's all that's in the bag. Not the biggest fan of phrases. It's cool when you know the phrase, but the problem is the response, right? Like, a lot of people are always like, oh, I want to learn how to say, where's the bathroom? In whatever language. And then it's like, oh, the bathroom is down the hall over to your left, go up a flight of stairs or whatever. And sometimes it is that complicated. I mean, the thing that actually comes to mind is this one really famous Thai dessert bar in the middle of Bangkok. Looks like the announcement's going. I asked where the bathroom was in Thai, and I was just, when you ask that question, it makes you think of the people that learn how to say, like, ¿Dónde está el baño? Right? Where is the bathroom? And then the little girl was just like, okay, so you're gonna have to go down 2 flights of stairs and then go out this door, and it's over on the left side-ish. You're gonna notice this hallway that looks like an alley. And it was just like, wow, this is very convoluted. And yeah, it was very convoluted. Like, it was not a easy thing to do. I got there, and luckily I knew enough Thai to get there, but that being said, now you put that into terms of, like, I learned how to say that in Korean. If it was the same instance of, like, okay, you have to go out that door because it's not within this actual building, that would be an issue for me. I don't know that much Korean. Although, I mean, I'm sure that the people here are nice enough to try to really guide you, and they'll go out of your way. It's just one of those things where it's like, you got to be careful sometimes, because particularly with places that I want to be going, I don't expect anybody to speak English at some of those places, and that's why it's like I'm struggling so hard to learn how to read it. I could actually type in Korean on my phone now. Like, I'm comfortable with that, and that was one of the main things. So now I could either use the photo function, which, I mean, I'll probably be doing as well quite a bit, or I could be just type it in real quick or write it in real quick onto my phone to get translations of what the word is, and then I could do some sort of like Google search onto what that item is. For the most part, I've been trying to stick to what are the top things to eat in each general area and what restaurants that are highly recommended, and then when I find it, I actually write down not only the restaurant and the address, but what I should be eating there, and hopefully I could just ask that and say it. The biggest issue that I've seen so far, if I want to call it an issue, is the fact that most of the restaurants here in Korea feel like they're made for at least 2 people to go eat at. And even though it's inexpensive, most of the time the amount of food looks like it's for at least 2 people, which that is, I mean, that's cool, but at the same time, it's like, I'm traveling solo. Like, I don't want to leave food. I don't know what the culture is on that. Maybe I'll ask my buddy when he comes by to pick me up, or if I could give him a phone call, if that's like polite to just leave food on the table when you're done. I did bring that savor dish, and I do think I mentioned that before, either in a previous video or in a previous day. But anyhow, let's get a closer look at what we're eating today. We have the rambutan, orange, apple, the cream puff that I was talking about. This container was with the edamame, the hard-boiled egg, and then this is the chicken on ciabatta, the what was it? The not barbecue chicken. Oh my gosh, I'll just look up the name. Just the smoked chicken on the ciabatta. Looks good. I mean, it looks like the chicken that I had the other day. I think I actually already had this once. So I'll take a bite of it real quick, and then we'll find out. Other than that, I'll just eat the cream puff, and we'll call it a day, or call it a meal. So this is totally like the sandwich I think I had on the second or third day. That tasted like the barbecue chicken. It's good. It is the smoked chicken, which makes sense why it tastes like barbecue chicken. And then as for the cream puff, it's real nice and pretty. And there's where I think it's a cream puff. It's because it does look like it's filled. It's delicious. It has a really strong vanilla flavor. All right, well, I think I'm gonna make a cup of coffee now and probably throw up something on YouTube or Netflix and finish my breakfast here. It's day 8. I am past the halfway point now. I do hope the weather gets better. It's been raining all week. Weird. See you at lunch. Good afternoon. It is day 8, quarantine lunchtime. Just came by. It's actually probably a little bit before noon. Yeah, it's 11:57. The guy came by at about 11:50 and knocked on the door. And just a quick side note, the weather is like gorgeous outside. It's just perfect. So I'm quite happy about that. Like the Everland Green Park, or theme park, Green Park, is looking very vibrant because it just rained, so it washed away all the dust. And I do know that the air quality here might not be the best, but I mean, I'm gonna be wearing a mask outside all the time anyways, but that's aside the point. It just, all the colors look like they're just popping right now, and the green mountains are just so green. But I traded out the cider for, this was in the fridge, and I put the Pepsi that I got with the meal into the fridge just to kind of cut that part of the video a little bit shorter. We do have our silverware. We have a soup, have a bottle of water. Oh, cool. We have rice, but this one does not look like white rice. It looks like some sort of maybe black or red rice. We have the dressing for the salad. And today's meal, I think it's a repeat. I'm not 100% sure, but it's ebi fry. So looks good. Getting excited about the planning phase of this, of what I'm going to be doing in Seoul. There's a lot to see and do, so that'll be cool. I've lost certain episodes of a Korean variety show that I was watching over in the States called Battle Trip, and maybe I'll hop onto the VPN later and watch that again. But it's this neat show, and not all the episodes are useful to me right now, so some are just for entertainment purposes, I guess you could say. But one of the ideas of the show was that they kind of pit two areas of travel against each other. And like, I found it when I was watching, I think it was like the Philippines versus Thailand. And then I also watched, I can't remember what the competing country was, but there was one that was like in Austria. Maybe it was Croatia. But they have these really cool competitions where they have two teams of people go out to different areas. Now that was the international version that like caught my attention when I was starting into these variety shows, but they do have a lot of local travel too, which is kind of cool. So like if you're doing a day trip out of Seoul, where to go, or if you're in Seoul, this part of Seoul versus that part of Seoul, or Seoul versus Busan, or Daegu versus like Mokpo or something like that. And I mean, these are just items that I'm making up kind of off the top of my head. And the show ended last year, which kind of sucks because the show is actually quite interesting. Maybe it's because it had like a 5-year run. They pretty much ran out of ideas. I know that I was reading on the wiki that the final part of the show was having celebrities come on and kind of introduce their home areas of Korea. So if they're from like Jeju Island, they would show you around Jeju Island and try to get like the idea why it was called Battle Trip. And why I keep mentioning two places is that they would pit these two places against each other, and they would have two teams go to each, or they would have a team, two teams, right? And a team would go to each place, and that was the battle. And then the audience, which was a live audience, which was watching with the host, would then gauge and judge which they would rather do, which trip would they rather do. Now, of course, I'm thinking the international versions were probably way better, but probably with Corona, everything kind of fell apart for that show, and that's probably why it ended last year. Like, they could only do local travel. The final 18 episodes were the I'm a celebrity, let me show you the best parts of where I'm from type episodes, and that was how they ended it. So I could only imagine that it did all right, but just not as good as they wanted it to do. Regardless, it's a show that I want to kind of watch the certain city episodes, like if they have anything on Sokcho, Seoul, Suwon, Incheon. I have to say for the south, I'm pretty good. Busan, Daegu, Gwangju, I think it is, Jeonju. All these places, I pretty much have like where I want to go kind of laid out, and I don't think I could actually really add anything. It's more along the lines of finding places to go eat or where I could go eat and find like the local delicacies of those areas right now. Up in this northern area, which I have to get into some heavy duty like planning. It's pretty free. I do have a map, which I could throw up here, of places where I want to go to, but I haven't actually mapped out like my day, like the day plan on where I'll be and what hours they're open and what hours I'll be there. Anyhow, let's go ahead and get into the food here. So we have the ebi fry, which is, it's similar to katsu, but it's a little different. We have some sort of pancake there, probably like a spinach pancake. We have some ginormous, not cucumbers, but zucchini in a spicy sauce, so like a kimchi type deal. We have our salad and the dressing for the salad. We have our regular kimchi right there, and then the mixed vegetable kimchi right there. This is the rice I was talking about, where it's like some sort of special type of like red rice has probably been mixed in. It looks good. And then here is our soup, and the soup, it looks like a mung bean soup. It's probably going to be pretty flavorless. No, like pretty bland. Like, I don't know how to describe that. Bland, not in a bad way though, because I think what they're doing is they're using that to cut the fat from this. So the fried prawns. Yeah, let's go ahead and dig in. I'm gonna go ahead and start off. I think the prawn, really, right? The prawn and the zucchini and the rice, really. So dip the prawn first. I didn't actually mean to dip that first. Typically, I like to try it without any sauce. So, actually, I'll just put that aside. I do have 3 prawns. So let me try this other one first. So we have, boom, no sauce. And it's good. If you add a little Japanese mayo to it, and then some sushi rice and wrap it in some seaweed, it's like the ultimate sushi. That was just a little bit of kimchi. That's delicious. And now the rice. Rice just tastes like rice. Let's go ahead, try the one with the sauce now. Yeah, that just goes with the rice, the sauce so well. The creaminess of the tartar sauce is like perfect. And then let's give the zucchini a flavor check. I wish I could explain that spicy flavor to it. It's not just spicy, there's an actual flavor to it, and it actually reminds me of something else, but it's like slipping my mind, like a spicy chicken, which is weird because it's definitely a zucchini, but it tastes great. And it's not overly hot. All right, let's try some of the soup. Yep. So that's like a chicken broth soup or a broth of some sort. And then how do they do? It's a very strong flavor of mung bean. Really nice, actually. And it's still hot. So overall, very satisfactory meal. Still think the katsu I had the other night was probably the best meal that I've had here so far. Okay, the salad dressing. I was thinking maybe I had it before. Maybe I have. It tastes like strawberries though. Let me dip a quick piece of lettuce in there. And then got the dressing on there. It's just so crazy. It's good, but it made eating lettuce taste like a strawberry. Anyhow, the day's been going by well enough, and I got plenty of ideas of things that I want to do. So I still feel that it's going by quickly. It's already lunchtime, but I mean, obviously, time can't be conveyed so easily on these videos. So anyhow, I'll check back at dinner time unless something pops up. So. And good afternoon. Dinner has arrived, and I've actually already grabbed everything out and changed the format just a little bit. So we have the silverware as they always delivered. I actually saw the guy delivering it still. I heard him drop it down at the door at about 5:45. Yeah, it's 5:49 right now. And I just walked over and grabbed it. I was just watching a K-drama when he was delivering it, so it was easy to just walk over. I've actually already replaced the yogurt, so this one's from the fridge, so it's nice and cold. We have 2 dinner boxes. This seems to be a pattern now. This one has a sandwich in it, and we'll see what type of sandwich that is in a moment. And this one has fried rice and like a hamburger patty. We also have a soup of sorts. I think it's a potato soup, and then this is the dressing to go with the salad. And so today I spent a lot of time looking up restaurants in Seoul, and we're just adding them to the Google map that I created, the My Map. The goal is to try to get as many things in the same location as possible so that when I'm in that location, I could hit as many of them up at the same time. That way you could take one train and then just walk over. You could probably do about like 3 or 4 things without really having any issues about timing. So if you could actually eat in that area, that's actually all the better. And I'm sure it'll happen where I'm like stopping by some sort of fast food joint, whether it be McDonald's or I don't know if there's like a specific Korean fast food joint that I should be trying. I should look that up actually. The thing is that all these other restaurants are just so good looking that it's kind of feels like a damn shame to like be wasting a meal on something that's not amazing. And that includes like the infamous fried chicken here, right? It's one of the pages that I was looking at was this food tour of Seoul, and it said like chicken and beer is a staple. And then they list out a bunch of chicken and beer places, and I think almost all of them that they listed out were chains, which I'm okay with. Like, if it's good, it's good. That is one of those ones where I decided to try to hit up. They were all chains, but a lot of them are run like mom and pop shops. And because of that, I was like, okay, which one should I try to hit up? And which one is like, I just put maybe a couple that were on the map at the most, I don't want to say appropriate places, but convenient places. That would be the word. And I just wanted to make sure that I was able to get to locations where there was a plentiful amount of food, so I could have like lunch and dinner in that location if necessary. But yeah, the amount of good food here is incredible. And although I was doing that like research, one of the big things that I found out is that there is a lot of expensive restaurants in Seoul. And it's funny how many of these expensive restaurants are suggested, and I might have put like 1 or 2 of them down, but I'm definitely not going to be going after like Michelin star after Michelin star or whatever. It's interesting how a lot of like Eater and stuff like that, they suggested just really high-end places, and then there was a couple of mom and pop shops that I wanted to go hit up, places that were like, you know, that single dollar value. Like, I'm down for the single or double, but when it's like $4 or $5 signs next to the name of a restaurant, that's a bit outrageous. Again, I was actually starting to run a little low on water. I've been drinking quite a bit today. It's a little warmer today than normal, but yeah, that being said, that's really what I was doing. And then after getting tired of translating and typing, that's really what I was doing, was just copying Korean, putting it over, and then writing what it would be in English, or vice versa. If it was in English, then trying to write in Korean and seeing if I could actually find it. Luckily, Korean's phonetic enough for me to get by, but there are a few issues now and then where like I have no idea, like W-O-O woo. I thought it was the circle with a line and then a line underneath it, and then next to it would be a line with a line going down, and I'll just type it out on the screen so you can see it. But yeah, that wasn't it. Just couldn't find this restaurant, and there was a big attempt at trying to figure out how to do the name in Korean because the English name wasn't being found on Google Maps. It's one of those few countries where Google Maps really doesn't help you out all too much here. So also, like, it sucks since you can't do walking paths. I can't really figure out how to walk. I'm gonna have to try to figure out Naver Maps or the other one, Kakao Maps maybe. But anyhow, let's take a look at the food here. And here we have the hamburger steak that I was talking about. We have some fried rice. We have a sandwich and a hot dog bun, which go try. Looks like an egg sandwich. I'm not 100% sure. I think I'm gonna have to take a bite of it. Then there's the salad, slice of orange, a white sauce for the dressing. It smelled very sour, so maybe it's like a yogurt. Then we have the soup and the yogurt that I will drink. But yeah, there we go. I can't believe we're going into day 9 already. It's pretty crazy. Day 8's almost over. Need to start looking and getting all this planning stuff done. I thought I'd have tons of time, and I guess really I just had one scare. That's probably the way I should put that out there. One of my hotels or Airbnbs actually canceled out on me at the last moment, and they're doing it in a really weird way where they're like, hey, can you cancel this for me? And I'm like, can't you just cancel it? And they're like, I'm in Finland and I can't cancel that. Okay. So then I went to Airbnb and tried to cancel it, and it literally was one of the options is the landlord asked me to cancel it. So I hit that, and it's like, you shouldn't be doing this. The landlord should be canceling. I'm like, oh, there's something shady going on. So I just canceled the whole thing and I got a full refund back. But that also meant that I had to like scramble to try to find a place to replace that. It was just a single night, which sucked, but I ended up having to spend like twice as much on a hotel. But whatever, it's done now. So starting off with the soup. Still warm. It's that, yeah, regular potato soup that I've had like almost every night here. I do wonder, this one has like a ton of veggies and there's like ham in it. Is that because I got earlier or later scoop of the soup pot? You know what I mean? Like, why isn't it in, is it in all of the soups and I'm just not getting it because I'm getting either the end portion or the beginning portion of the soup? So you're not actually, you know, you're just getting the liquid, I wonder. At least it tastes good. So, I mean, can't complain too much about that. Oop. Okay, this guy is dripping on me. Oh, it's very sweet. Okay, tastes like coleslaw. Like a standard American coleslaw. It's kind of different. It's good. I was expecting like an egg or something. Okay, so the hamburger steak is a little tougher than I thought it was going to be, but I was able to get that going. There's like a teriyaki sauce on it. It's very sweet. It might be tough because it's cold. And then the rice is just normal. Yeah, nothing special there. And then just a quick taste of this. Yeah, I don't really know how to describe that. It's sweet and somewhat sour like a yogurt. Other than that, there's no real defining flavor, no like sesame or vanilla or anything like that. It's very creamy. So I think it's gonna go really well with the salad, but I'm gonna go ahead and finish this up and finish up the Netflix episode that I'm watching, and we'll catch you in the morning. Oh, let's talk about Battle Trip during lunch. Still wasn't able to find a full episode. I was able to find bits and pieces, but I don't know where all those episodes went. Strange. Maybe there was like a takedown or something, but I thought it was on the official site. So as in the TV channel's YouTube. I don't know. I'll keep looking, and hopefully I could find something so I could pull up cool things to do in Seoul or Incheon or all those areas that are local. We'll check back in tomorrow morning. Good night.